Hello, here we are with another Saturday Night Live Zoom, and we have a special guest, Michelle, which was last minute today, but this is wonderful, a surprise. Thank you for joining us, Michelle.
Yes, of course.
Um, so maybe you want to start with a little bit about your background, how you uh, came into Find Masterfast, what was your diet before growing up, and so on and so forth. I guess you have some notes you made. You want to cover
Yeah, just
some?
things that popped in my head throughout today that I just wanted to make sure to talk about, but those will probably come along the way as well.
Yeah. What's going on here? Okay, go ahead when you're ready.
So I am 38 years old, and I grew up in a very small town in Oklahoma, about 2 hours from where I live now. And my mother was very health conscious. She grew up in a very wealthy family, and her mother chose to use food to like love her. So instead of spending quality time, she would go get her, you know, junk food at the convenience store. Well, my mom, I guess, maybe was trying to change that and do the opposite. So I tell my husband this all the time. For 1 year, my mom cooked stir fry every single night. So it was a little bit traumatic for a child or a teenager. Like, what are we having for dinner? Stir fry. What are we gonna have tomorrow? Stir fry. So I loved vegetables growing up, but it became, I guess, I got tired of eating the same thing. So, and through divorce, of mother and father divorce when I was like in the third grade, so that kind of led to some unhealthy eating habits.
Emotions, yeah.
Emotions started, exactly. Gained weight at that time. My brother and I spent a summer while my mom was working, and we just like filled our, emotions with food, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
started as a child, and in high school, I knew that I learned through tons of taking tests and trying to figure out what I would be good at. I learned that I wanted to be a chiropractor. I had experienced some help in my low back, had some low back issues, played basketball and was very athletic. And so had some low back type issues, probably the weight and things like that. Unhealthy eating did not help at all. Um, so chiropractic is the path that I was going down. And my
What
mom,
age was that?
what now?
What age was that when you were contemplating?
I was a junior in high school. I started taking a lot of tests, like, trying to figure out what I would be good at. So it was always like helping others, serving others, healing. It was saying doctor, and I was thinking, oh no, I am not going to be cutting on people and dealing with blood and gut. Not interested. So I asked my mom, I'm like, it keeps saying doctor and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, how about a chiropractor? And I'm like, I can get down with that, you know? So that was I started going, thinking and heading in that direction. My mom was very into herbs and vitamins and supplements growing up. I mean, constantly, you know, pushing those on us, having us take them. She grew them. So it was kind of, influenced in that direction. Um, so let's see, go to college, go in a healthy, normal way. As soon as I get there, eating pizza and stuff that my little small town had no, hands-on. Um, I had no access to those horrible foods, and so I ate them all and gained, lots of weight. And then when it was my senior year, I was about to go to chiropractic school. I started researching and learning, like, I can't live my life like this, right? I'm an emotional wreck because I'm trying to stuff myself with food to fill a void or an unhealthy emotion that hasn't been addressed. So I started going to a counselor and learning what I was doing and why I was doing what I was doing. It was very, very helpful. And then I started, I remember this was my senior year of college, so this would have been 2003. I went on this crazy like clean out, and I changed everything I was eating to pretty much soy. It was that kind of that era where soy was like, you know, so I was eating, you know, soy burgers, soy nuts in my salad, but I was really trying to clean eat. All of a sudden, and I worked while I was in college, I was a medical transcriptionist, so I was trying to take a report, and I would just totally zone out for like minutes while I'm supposed to be taking this report. And I called my mom, who lived back in Oklahoma, still very much into nutrition and herbs and going to the, you know, health food stores. And I said, Mom, something's not right. People keep, you know, trying to talk to me, and they'll be talking and I'm zoning out, like nowhere near listening to what they're saying. And so she ran across, like a week later, she ran across this article in the health food store that said blood type A and soy, it's basically like poison to you. And I'm like, normally I'm a very strong-willed person, so normally I'm like, you don't know what you're talking about, I'm fine. But because she read off every little it was like symptom, like fatigue, zone out, you know, blah blah blah, everything that I was doing, I was like, I checked off every single one of them, and I was like, whoa. I immediately, everything I was eating, because it was breakfast, lunch, and dinner, everything I was eating, I stopped, totally stopped it. And of course, you know, it cleared up and went away, all these crazy symptoms. So that was the one thing I was like, food can be toxic. Clearly, even though you think like you're doing such great things and you're helping, you know, it's not. So that was my first little aha moment. Then I continue on to chiropractic school after graduating college. And of course, we're just fed just so many different theories, models, ideas. But that's truly when I started. So that would have been like 2004. It's truly when I started learning about detoxing and cleansing and cleaning out the liver and cleaning out the kidneys and trying to restore your body to a natural, normal, healthy state, and allowing your body to heal itself if we get out of the way, right? So I started doing different, you know, fasts, nothing anywhere near the master fast, but, you know, I would even just go get a 10-day supplement fast off the Whole Foods shelf and do that, or, you know, and so I was constantly cleansing and detoxing to the point where I actually saw my aunt who lives in Alabama this past weekend, and she's like, what are you doing, you know? And I was like, I'm fasting and detoxing. She goes, you're always fasting and detoxing. And I'm like, you should try it. It's a good place to be. So that's kind of when I started doing more and more. Before I found the master fast, I ran into what now?
I didn't say anything. Go ahead.
Oh, I thought I heard. Before I found the master fast, I have a mentor. He's about maybe 10, no, he's 15. He's about 15 years older than me. Very, very strong Christian believer. He's actually from Africa. He owns an infertility clinic here in Frisco, the area that I live in. And he's like a marathon runner. He's all about, you know, just, he's pretty motivational for me. Well, he was like, I'm doing a 40-day fast. And I'm like, and this was in 2007. He's like, I'm doing a 40-day fast. I'm like, okay, what does that mean exactly? And he says, well, I'm going to be drinking tea, like an herbal tea every day, and even green tea, things like that. But I'm just not going to eat anything. And I'm like, okay. And I was like, and you're gonna be okay, like you're gonna live, you know, like, because at the time I was big in the gym, lifting heavy weights, drinking my protein shakes, you know, that whole lifestyle. And so I told a friend about it, what Dr. Mankeys was doing, and she was like, I'll do it with you. And I'm like, I wasn't saying I wanted to do this, but anyway, so we actually did it together, she and I. And being through chiropractic school, I knew that you had to keep the bowels moving. So I was doing things like smooth move tea and drinking some magnesium, trying to make sure, and some enemas every day, trying to make sure my bowels are moving. And I made it through. We did 30 days. He was doing 40, but she and I decided to do 30 days. And I felt amazing. Like, we did do we worked out in the mornings together, and then we did do a homemade smoothie that we created, which did have some fruit, like blueberries and pineapple in it, that first thing in the morning. And again, after that, I felt amazing, like cleaned out, so much so I wanted to keep doing it, but she was like, you know, we can't keep going, like we've got to stop. And I'm like, okay. So let's see, so that may have been later. That may have been like 2012 or something when I first did that. So a few years passed by and I didn't do a long one like that again. And so I knew, like, this was probably 3 years ago. I'm like, it is time. It is time. These little bitty detox things that I'm doing, it's not cutting it. I need to get serious. So, you know, and of course, in my profession, I'm seeing people come in all the time. They have got cancer and they've got diabetes and they've got so many autoimmune diseases. It's ridiculous. I've been gluten-free since 2010. I had went on a very clean eating, about 6 months, just raw, clean eating. And then I went into the holidays and was eating Southern's cooking.
Ooh, nice.
And I broke out in a rash all over my body. An itchy rash, to the point that I thought I had been traveling a lot. I thought I had bed bugs. And so I'm like cleaning everything and washing everything. And my mom's like, Michelle, bed bugs, you can see those. So get a flashlight, you know, and check your mattress and you'll be able to tell if you can have them. So I checked everything. There's not a bed bug one. So I'm like, it's not bed bugs, but it was itching at night really bad. So that's why I thought, you know, bed bugs. So I went to a friend he's a chiropractor, but he does AK, muscle testing, things like that. And he tested for a variety of things, but it came back gluten, dairy, and peanuts. Well, I knew peanuts already. My family loves peanut butter and I hate it. Almonds, fine. Peanut butter, wow. And anytime I'd get peanut butter, I'd get like 1 million like little bumps on my back. So I already knew peanuts weren't a good thing for me. Gluten, I knew when I was eating pizza and eat stuff like that, you know, instantly inflammation and just, you know, gut inflammation. I didn't really have the digestive issues that a lot of people have with gluten, but anyways, so I've been gluten-free as much as possible, right? I always tell people 98%. Since then, and that was kind of even starting me down, like, okay, clean it out, get the junk out, get the processed foods out, change your life, you know? So it was about 3 years ago. I started researching best fasts to restore health, to alkalize your body, to clean out your body. And you guys, thankfully, came up. So I started, you know, watching videos and listening to, you know, one of these, actually. Linda, she also lives in Dallas. I forget how you say her last name, like starts with a W. And I listened to hers after I already started, I think, my first one. But she was amazing. You know, her story about her kidney being removed and then her left kidney having a tumor, and then she ate raw for a long time and it would shrink and go back. I've told this story to my patients like 1 million times, you know? And So she was a big inspiration for me to stick with it and then to even continue on doing it. So I started in 2017 and did my first 40-day fast of the Master Fast. And I started, I think, like March 28th or something. And it was amazing. It was great. I felt amazing. I had so much energy. I mean, I would even work 12-hour days sometimes and still have energy, opposite of what my small little brain thought was going to happen. Okay.
Yeah, we all go in with preconceived ideas that we're not going to have energy. So many people, how do I work? Most people are okay during a fast.
Yeah, people think, or even I bought into the lie, oh, I'm just going to have to lay around and do nothing. Heck no, I have so much more energy. Even when I work out, that gives me even more energy. I mean, yes, with wisdom, and not go out and run 10 miles or anything, but it's just like you get the oxygen flowing, you get your body moving, and it just, you keep the junk out. It's amazing. So the 40 days was great. And then that was last year. And so my mom, I've really encouraged her, all of my family, but my mom especially, I really encouraged her to do the fast. And this year I had already decided last summer that I was going to start in January. I didn't say what day in January, but I said in January, I'm going to start the 108 days. So I tell my mom, I need you to go ahead and start mentally preparing yourself. It's all mental. It is all your mind. So whatever you believe, you will achieve. So start talking to yourself, start getting ready. And of course, she's all on board. She's one of those, she's always on board 100%, but then when the going gets a little bit tough, she jumps ship, which we're dealing with that. Anyway, so started January 10th for the 108, and so April 27th was the last day. And this one, of course, just like anything, the first 2 weeks was, there was a strong battle, spiritual battle going on, actually. I believe with all my heart that God wanted me to do this, and he wanted me to start January 10th, and that no matter what, it was going to go down. But I do believe that Satan wanted me to stop. So within the first 10 days, this is a little personal, but my husband, who's an amazing man, came to me with suicidal ideations while I was at work. And so very traumatized, because that is not like him at all. He's a very strong, take care of business, even to say anything like that was just shocking, right? So my first instinct is to
eat
that how am I going to deal with this? And I wanted to go, and God said no. He said, I've got you. Come to me. Turn it over to me. Don't be your first instinct to go grab food that's not going to do anything but hurt you. Come to me. So that's what I did. I just started praying and praying. And he opened up a big window to me and revealed that that's exactly what was happening, is that he has so much greater plans, for us, for our life, for our body, for, everything. But Satan is over here wanting to smash it, ruin it, do whatever he can. He didn't care. He's still through this whole 108 days, he's still fighting and fighting Satan to ruin it. And I'm like, no, it's kind of, when you have the strength and the peace of it, it's kind of funny, right? Like you can sit back and laugh, because it's like, no, I'm not going to let you win. You're not going to win. God is in control. He gives me the strength. He gives me the peace. He gives me the joy through whatever you want to bring. Can't have it. Can't win. So it's been amazing, to say the least.
Yeah, it's the true nourishment, is spirit. It's the physical stuff is not, there's no such thing as nourishment in the matter state, physical. It doesn't exist. It's an illusion brought on by whatever you want to call them. It's
Distraction is really, it's, to me, like, it's more of a distraction. You know what I mean? Like, if you've got so much junk and so much burdening you, you can't even see the truth, see the reality,
Yeah. The more you live this type of lifestyle, the things come clear and clear and clear. Especially when you do many cycles of fasting, eating, fasting, eating, fasting, eating. It's very clear what the simple truth is about food, physical foods. It's not going to satisfy you no matter what. It just numbs us out. And, our belief system is the only thing that gets in the way, the mind.
So true. That's I put the two things that I feel this fast, that first was definitely the emotional eating. I really, really got that loud and clear. Hindsight's always 20/20, right? So as I've just been thinking over this past week, like, wow, that time in my life, I look back and I see all of these years of running to food as the source instead of, the true source, right? So I've got that. I wrote it down. I'm living on it. I'm standing on it. No mas. The second thing, what was it? I wrote it down too. It was another thing that I really feel, it'll come back to me in a minute. Another thing that I really think is very helpful, Gino, that is, you've encouraged this, is writing down your goals. So I did this before I even started, right? But I wrote them all down on this paper. And then what I did was I took this little notebook and I put day 1 with the date, all the way, and I did it before I even started, all the days, and I put what day it was. So that way I could go and I could make my little note, how I felt, blah, 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 yeah. And it was also fun, something to like be able to do, because clearly when you're not cooking and grocery shopping and all that, you have more time.
Yep.
So I did start about 2 weeks where like I couldn't be anywhere, near food. Like, let me step back. And then after that, we took my husband, I don't remember when this was, probably a month after, we took my husband to a naturopath. He's having, of course, tons of health issues, as we know why. But who changed his diet dramatically and changed his world dramatically, thankfully. So instead of taking him straight off of his SAD, I decided, okay, I'm going to take this food and I'm going to make it taste amazing, but it's going to be what he can eat. So I turned it into this like gourmet chef for him. And he was like, this is great, spinach and onions and egg whites. And, he was like, because he's a bodybuilder. So he lives by the bodybuilding, I've got to have my protein. I've got to have so many calories a day. He still lifts weight like he's training for a competition. I'm like, and the naturopath told him, you keep doing what you're doing and, you're not going to be here much longer. He was very real with him. So I was very thankful for that. So I turned into this gourmet chef. Then I become obsessed during the fast. I don't know, maybe halfway through, watching like cooking shows. And I told my husband, I'm like, anything you want, what do you want? I'll take it and I'll make it healthy. I was making jackfruit was like, here's your pulled pork, honey. It was jackfruit.
Yeah.
So kind of something, it was kind of fun for me after a while. So
Yeah, it's unlimited. The only thing stopping us is our imagination, our belief system to do anything with anything. Like all these flavors, you can create anything. Everything comes through plants. Anyway,
exactly. Yeah. Tons of garlic. I got some cilantro and mint growing right out here outside in a big pot. So, and I mean, I'll just put tons and tons of cilantro on there. He's like, this is so good. I'm like, and guess what? It's not a cheeseburger. It's not your junky, nastiness that you think you have to have. Honestly, like if you think about it, I even tell him, my husband, this all the time. I'm like, the bread that you're eating has zero flavor. It's
mm-hmm.
it's a filler. Like if you take that away, it's going to be so much better for you, but you're going to have so many more flavors.
Yeah, the flavors and the herbs, and it's not in the grains or the oils or the legumes or meats or eggs. If anything, they taste bad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They do.
They either don't taste or they taste bad.
Exactly. Yeah, so let's go. Let's talk about a few things that happened. Let's see. So in our family, which my cousin Hadley, I don't know if she's watching this, but I hope she is. She's on day like 7 or 10. She
Awesome.
lives in Alabama, and she's about 23, I believe. She's had tons of health issues, tons throughout her whole life. Like even starting when she was like 10, extreme stomach pains and tons of allergies, the whole, like her body attacking herself, but she has Hashimoto's. She's got, all these things, right? So when I did my 40-day last year, I'm like, Hadley, do the master fast. Here it is. This is, I'm doing it. I feel amazing. Like it's going to help so much, this is the way to heal yourself. Right. And she did. Her and her, that new husband at the time, they dove in and they're like, okay, we're going to do it. And I think she made it 7 days. I think he made it 2. This was last year. And, but she's noticed I've not stopped talking about it. I've not stopped, it's still on full, but now she just saw me for the first time. I hadn't seen her since her wedding in Christmas 2016. So she just saw me this weekend. She was like, oh my goodness, you look amazing. Your hair, your eyes, your teeth, your everything, right? You've lost, I think I lost 33 pounds. She goes, I can't even believe you didn't lose more. And I'm like, well, my bones are like, I just hit myself on the counter and my bone felt like it was going to come out of my hip. I mean, my hip bone was going to come out of my skin. But anyways, because I weigh about 150. I started at about 184, both times actually. But I've spent majority of my life when I'm doing right and eating right around 160. I'm 5'9". I do always try to stay active and stay in the gym as far as lifting or, keeping a little muscle tone. But I saw her and she got really excited. She's still having all these health issues now, anxiety and everything. So she started fast and is doing really well. So she said she needs lots of plasma love today because her neighborhood is having she just moved into this neighborhood and they're having a neighborhood cookout. And so funny. But we're praying and believing that she's going to stick out 108 days like she says she is, and she's going to restore her health. So
that's the attitude. You once you set your mind and you commit, there's no other option.
Exactly.
It's that simple. It's just the ones that don't have the results are the ones that don't commit. They're not living the lifestyle. They're not following the program. And it's so clear. If we get rid of the food industry, you'll see all diseases disappear very quickly.
They won't have, well, the doctors won't have, anything to do or any drugs to prescribe because no one will need them.
Yeah, it's I feel it's going to be the whole world is changing slowly.
I see it too.
I see it. And it's happening so fast. It's amazing. It's amazing. People who thought I want to eat all the time are now, thinking, maybe, if maybe it would be nice not to eat all the time, not to eat 3 times a day. I see it more and more. I actually see more and more clients who are doing intermittent fasting and maybe 1 meal a day. Coming from they're eating their meats, but they're eating 1 meal a day. I mean, it's amazing. I think it's amazing. It's really fast.
And even like my patients that come in that still are eating horrible, they're open to these concepts. When I even start talking about it, instead of them just shooting it down like, they're like, oh yeah, I've heard about that, or someone told me this. So exactly, it's starting to catch like wildfire that it's very obvious what we were doing not working. We're getting more sick, bigger, unhealthier, more disease, need more drugs, right?
We're more hungry. We're addicted. People are tired. They're like, okay, what am I going to be full? Nothing is satisfying.
Yeah, the lifestyle less is more. We're going the opposite way.
And it is like that really resonated with me. Less is more. And it's not just in like food, or it's in everything in life. That's another thing about halfway through. I had a massive yard sale in October, so I didn't have anything. But I went through my house even after that during the fast. I started decluttering and cleaning and putting things away and getting rid of stuff. And my husband's like, can we keep it this way? And I'm like, yeah, I think it's a good idea. And we've been able to keep things, just decluttered and minimized. And it's like, I want it in every area of my life because it feels great, it feels amazing.
It's baggage otherwise.
What now?
It's baggage or otherwise, and we have enough inside us.
Let it go.
It feels great when we clean house inside and out.
Yes. 100%. Yeah, so my husband, right, he's going to all of these doctors and going through this whole thing. And when we leave, he always just looks at me like, I know if I did what you're doing, but he cannot even like begin to, and I'm like, you see it, right? You see it's real, you see it's true. How can you not even begin to?
The addictions are much stronger than anything else. And that's why people go back to food and then start complaining all over again that they have this problem, that problem, that problem. The addictions are just too overwhelming. And the influences in our society, family, friends, and so on and so forth, co-workers, it's just too overwhelming for people's emotions, because everything starts on the emotional, on the spirit side. Everything. If we solve that, the physicality is done. It's finished. It's completely solved easily. But we're here and we're all numbing ourselves up because the planet is so imbalanced. It's we're not comfortable in the way we're living, so we're trying to numb ourselves up so we don't see it and feel it, because we're these wonderful beings of light, and we can sense all this stuff through the soul. We can sense it all, but it's not comfortable when we clean house, because it becomes clear that this is not correct what we're doing. So we numb ourselves and numb ourselves and numb ourselves, so we don't have to pay attention to all that. And everything's cozy when we're all numbed out. That's why people go to drugs and alcohol, and the food is the number one, right? Everybody does that pretty much.
We start facing reality when we're clear.
Yeah.
and some people are not ready.
Yeah, it's this,
Very hard for the reality.
yeah, the solution is so simple. We just need to get out of the way and stop eating, and then, you know, for a long time, and then keep our food consumption very minimal and clean, and most of our challenges will go away. We haven't seen anything that's not possible. Everything is possible. Today, was it Brianna wrote, she had a piece of glass stuck in her eyelid, I think she said, for years. It finally came out.
Wow.
Like, you know, these things, this is nothing when you understand how the body, only the body can feed, hydrate, balance, and heal itself. And you can't do it with eating. I don't care what diet it is. It's not done. It's done through the soul. And once we grasp that and have total faith, total trust, we will not go back to, you know, punishing ourselves day after day, numbing ourselves up. You know, we'll indulge here and there for a little bit of enjoyment, and we'll be more in control because we know that that's the way that we can find balance very easily. With food, there's no diet I've seen that finds balance. It's just different levels of numbness. And some people are comfortable with their numbness, so they feel that's a balance for them. But when you are on my master fast, for example, and you in front of some of these people, what happens? They're resisting what they're seeing because the soul wants it. And in physicality, they're numb. They don't want that. They like their comfortable numb state. But the souls say, hey, there's something here. No. I like where I'm at. So that's, you know.
Looking in, right? It's sad. It's so sad, you know, because you want better for them, right? Yeah. But they even, it's so like, you know, they're running from truth. They're running from exactly what they need.
Exactly. It's, you know, it's, you know, people think we're wackos and this and that, not eating so little and so on and so forth, because it's just, this stuff has not been taught. You know, Master Fast sent a wave through the planet in true detoxification. And I've run across very, I can count them on one hand, few people that really understand what detoxification is about, true detoxification. And the true detoxification is not physical. It's not physical. We're doing the physical things, but because it's easier for us to work through the physical, but it's true detoxification is always through the soul level. And we're doing it in a way where we can see it and access it and have clarity. You know, look, all the stories keep coming in. It just becomes more and more clear, because everybody's finding the same thing. And the few that, you know, go back because they're just not ready, and that's okay. It's not their journey, but it's just amazing to watch all the transformations. And just that it came to my head, you're number 108 of the 108ers. 108ers. 108 other people besides me. You're the 108 that we know of. There are more out there, but they haven't shared. But you're the 108. That's.
Made me feel so special. I was like, God, really?
That was awesome. 108 people. My goodness gracious! Who would ever thought?
Amazing.
That's it's quite a bit of people. That you know, thousands of others have done the short ones, but 108 days is quite an accomplishment to commit. And
but now it seems so little. Like,
yeah.
You know, when you start, again, the mind, oh, it just seems like it's going to take forever. And I remember even telling, like, patients were like, how are you going to do this? Who doesn't? I remember when, like, who doesn't eat for, like, a quarter of a year? Like, really? I'm like, I'm about to, so watch it happen. And I go, I know a lot of other people that have done it. And guess what? They're better because of it. But what was my train of thought? Where was I going with that? Oh, yeah, I feel like Like, why stop now? I feel amazing, you know? So I've had some, like, even the first day, I didn't even eat my strawberries, and I had a little bit of pineapple, just a little bit, until like after, it was like near 3 o'clock. I'm like, I don't feel the need, you know? Like, everything's great. Why would I, you know, run and stuff in a bunch of strawberries when I don't feel them right, that I need them, right? So I had a few, and then the next day I had some, I think maybe a couple kiwi, like, okay, you know, it's like, yeah, and it tastes fine, but it's not like this, like, yeah, I need it now, or, you know, like, why rush anything? We're not, like, we have, and this is what I told a person too. I'm like, we have the rest of our lives, which we never know if that's going to be a day or a million, you know, how long, but why are we in such a hurry? Like, just do as we need, you know? So like today I've had a few blackberries, and I keep sipping my juice. Why? Because honestly, that's what I'm craving. That's what feels good to me. Like, so I had a coconut water today. My aunt texted me and said, "Hey, what do you think about aloe vera juice?" I'm like, "I think it's great. You know what? I have some organic aloe in I'm going to have some too." So, you know, like, whatever. But just like you said, less is more. Simplify. Keep it clean.
Yeah.
I was gonna add something about the master fast and how we're doing it, and people are not accepting it for themselves. Um, master fast, you know, I feel, I mean, from my experience, you fall in love with it when you do it. You don't fall in love with it when you just watch it, because you don't know. It's when you start clearing and clearing and clearing, and that's when you start thinking, oh my God, I can actually live without food. But then you educate yourself, right? You have, like, you're watching videos about people who don't eat as a lifestyle, you know? And, you know, in the group, it's amazing. I mean, we're exposed to all these information, and, you know, it's just beautiful. You're learning from the best of the best. And you start considering, you know, you start thinking. I remember the first 108 I did watch towards the end, a breatharian video, and I was like, oh, interesting. And I never thought I would ever stop eating, never. But then when I finished my 108 days, then I was like, ah, I'm gonna watch the video again. I'm gonna watch every single breatharian video, because this is not fun. I'm addicted.
Yes.
And it was really, that's when you start thinking, I mean, you can do it much easier. And honestly, like, we don't need food. We don't need food. So I really would love to see every single person who does massive fast to consider vegetarianism, you know, or eating less or eating occasionally, because you don't need it. Because once you go back to eating every day, it's not fun.
I was,
That's my experience.
even after the first 40, you know, I remember
Exactly.
telling people over the last, I'm like, eating is worse than not eating. I feel not good. Even when I eat healthy, you know, when I eat too much, I don't, not too much, but I eat more than, you know, it just little bitty bites. I just don't, it doesn't do me good, you know? So why would I keep doing what isn't doing good for me, right? Even today, like, the weather, right, is so nice today. And so my mom and I went out and did some grounding, and just and enjoyed the sun, and just like, it was just like, that feels good to me. I feel better, which gave me so much energy to change out a faucet and do this, and, you know, like, that feels good. And then I saw some blackberries when I opened the fridge. I'm like, oh, let me have one, just one, and I was totally fine, you know, like, I still had my little sip of, you know, coconut water, my grape juice with my lemon. Like, that feels good, and I feel great. So why would I, you know, it's just like we're saying, it's what you choose in your mind to believe is, that's what it's going to be. So if I'm fine doing this, then why would I believe a lie that I need to go eat, you know, a big meal with my family who's, you know, in there having fish, right? I don't need that. Like, I'm fine. I'll be all right.
How much? How much are you drinking of and eating a day?
I honestly am not even keeping up with it. I'm just kind of going through, and I would guesstimate probably 32 ounces of the juice still yet, right? I'm 7 days out. What is it? Yeah, because last weekend was my finish. So I would say at least a 32 ounce mason jar. That's what I put mine in. And then I would say maybe like a 12 ounces of like coconut water. And then like the other day, I had maybe 4 slices of kiwi throughout the day, and I felt great. Today, I've probably had maybe 4 blackberries along with the same amount of juice. Again, I feel great. I'm having 2 bowel movements a day. I have not done an enema in the last 4 days, and every day my bowels are moving perfectly fine. You know, people believe the lie. Oh, if you do enemas every day, then your bowels will stop working and you'll have to depend on them. That's a lie, because I have not done the enemas, and I've been going to the restroom with great bowel movements, with like still amazing things coming, and like, yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
I feel great.
pretty much everyone had that did 108 has super bowels. And the ones that don't have real challenges, they just need to keep going digging deeper. It's yeah, everything that we've been taught is has
Pretty
nothing
much
to do.
opposite. That's what I've been telling my patients. I'm like, you drinking a gallon of water a day? I said, how are your lips? Your lips still really dry? I said, well, let me just tell you about that. Let me tell you what you're doing to yourself. And they're like, I'm like, that's exactly how I felt when I learned it. Like, your mind is going to be blown, but let me tell you the truth. And they're just like,
Yeah, it was a difficult one for me about the water, but you know, the experience of going through the years and with the experiments shows the light of what actually is. Um, the body is the only thing that can feed, hydrate, balance, and heal itself. It's that simple. And the hunger, you know, if we only eat when we're hungry, we'll never have to eat because there's no such thing.
I just told my cousin Hadley, I'm like, the first, week to 2 weeks, you may have hunger pains. I said, but after that, this is just my funny way. So I'm like, that's your parasites begging for food. Just don't feed them. Like, just don't feed them. They'll leave you alone.
Yeah, it's parasites. It's also the stuff in throughout the GI tract. Once it starts clearing, the cravings go away. And when you do get those cravings, which are not hunger, if you would use the tools, essential oils, breath work, keep busy, it goes away.
Yes.
So if it was hunger, how can it go away?
Exactly.
Yeah, I believe the obstructions feed the parasites, but and it's all also they affect our emotions as well. But it's just a theory. Who knows?
Yeah.
All we know is that the hunger goes away. We're happy about that. As you go longer in the fast and you clean your body, you'll be less hungry. We don't need to know the details.
When we do eat,
that's the biggest thing. I think, for some people that are, if you need to know every little thing, it's going to be difficult for you, right? Mm-hmm. And because even people ask the question, I'm like, I don't care, I don't know, this is what I do, like the protocol, and then you don't have to, here's the beauty in it, you don't have to worry about anything else. And this is really simple, really, really simple. It may seem, and I always tell my patients, when you read it the first time, it's going to seem overwhelming, it's going to seem complex, it's going to be like, whoa. I said, I remember the first time before I did it, I read it probably 12 times. I just sat there and I read it, and I read it, and I read it, and I'm like, oh, this really is simple. And I read it again, and I'm like, oh, now I'm going to go get the things, and now I'm going to start planning it, and now I'm going to, so it's really, really simple. And then once you start doing it, oh my goodness, it's like, oh, hallelujah.
Yeah, like when, people say this is too complicated. What?
Going to the grocery store, trying to figure out what you're going to make for your family, cleaning, cooking, that is complicated. This is like easy, simple, just the same thing over and over. And you don't have to stress, you don't have to worry. It's beautiful, very beautiful.
Yeah, I think it's the detoxification information for people who are new, which is totally fine, right? So that's why it's very detailed, the protocol. But otherwise, it's just a little bit of education. But otherwise, it's very simple, the protocol itself.
Yeah.
And
TNT.
I think as detailed as you've made it is important because there are a lot of people, right, that are going to start and never have detoxed or done any of this, and they need to know. And some people are the detail people, so they're going to need to know all these details for them own personal, self to feel comfortable doing it, right? So I think you've done a great job with that for sure.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's very, very simple. Like this is the whole master fast. TNT, beginning and end of your wet window. Pudding once, an enema. That's it. That's it. All the stuff about blood pressure numbers, this, that, and the other thing, and what's coming out, and is it a pair? It's all irrelevant. It's not going to help you heal.
No.
People keep asking it over and over, and I try and bring it back to the simplicity of trust your soul and forget about all the stuff you've learned. That's it. That's how simple it is.
Exactly.
It's very challenging to convey that message with our intellect of how we've been brought up and taught and so on and so forth. And it was a struggle for me all these years of all the research and all the books and all.
I'm glad that you went through all that for us.
I just gave away all my books not too long ago, a couple of years ago. I just said, here, take them all. I don't need them anymore.
Simplified it.
It was all great. It was all, we just keep adding to the knowledge to find out all the knowledge is all within. We don't need any of it.
Exactly. Let it go.
Let it go. Let it go. You can't make it any more simple. Yes, somebody who's been on pharmaceuticals for a while and so on and so forth, we got to monitor, and people, especially with high blood pressure and diabetes, we got to monitor, because the body needs to go through a little bit of a transition to let that stuff go. But, it's amazing when you just let it go and trust and go with that. Blood work and all that. You don't really need any of this stuff. You don't really need any of it, except in some of these, challenging cases that we have to monitor for a while till things start cleaning out and balancing out on their own. And they do pretty quickly in a few weeks or a few months for most people. So, we just got to keep it simple. Can't keep it simple.
For blood pressure and blood sugar people, high blood pressure and blood sugar, the thing is that they're taking medications, and when they detox, the body balances itself, and so it's not safe to take the same dose.
Exactly.
And yeah, that's the only thing, especially these drugs. But of course, you have the psychic medications, you have this and you have that. But especially the blood pressure and blood sugar, because they can die basically taking medication when the body doesn't need it.
Right.
The antidepressants are another one where you got to really be careful, especially the benzo family. But other than that, it's easy to monitor and wean yourself off with the help of your doctor and so on and so forth. No big deal. We keep things very simple. We've seen that, people who continue to go to their doctors and stuff, they come back with a bunch of nonsense from people who have no idea what fasting and how the body heals. And it's very challenging to convey the message that forget about everything they said and just understand how to wean yourself off with their help. That's it. That's all you need to know. And everything will work out.
That was the last doctor we just saw. They're wanting to put my husband on Zoloft.
Oh.
Well,
Yeah, it's well, that's what they do. That's what they've been taught, and they have their purposes for emergency. We love the emergency services, but when it comes to your health, you got to take charge and take control, and make wise decisions based on your understanding. You can't follow anything blindly. You have to you must fall in love with the understanding of how the body heals. Um, Otherwise, you're relying on external sources, which you're never going to find your answers, because all the answers are within, through source. And God, the universe, it's our way to help us find that balance. We're not going to find it in anything physical. It's not going to happen. Not going to happen. This is where we have the help of the spirit world through the plants, which are so vitally important that few even have an understanding of that, of how important they are to use through this very powerful pipe cleaning system. We need that support. It's more a support for the emotion than it is physically. And we've seen, a handful of people go through very, very emotional challenges when they're on Master Fast. But when they come out of the other end, lots of things get balanced out, especially if they continue on the path. So very interesting. So Michelle, everything you started on eliminating, filtering, everything's going well through your fast. Any healing reactions you went through?
So yes, actually I was trying to get there a while ago. So our thyroid has been shown to be an issue or weak in our family, especially within the women. And changing and detoxing throughout the years has definitely helped me stay away from, having major issues. Well, that I was aware of, anyways. But within a last fast, my first 40, when I broke was probably like a 60, 70-hour dry fast. I had intense burning in the roof of my mouth when I did the bubbly. And I was like, yeah, that means my thyroid is renewed and healed and awesome. It's perfect again. And so that was the 40. And so I was like, that's fixed. I have no more problems there. If I had any, they're all better. But this time it did it again, but nowhere to the level as it did that first, right? That first 40 day fast. So after each long dry coming out, it would happen again, but again on a very minute level. So maybe if you were to do like a 1 out of 10, it was probably like a 2, 3, like a burning. Nothing unbearable. But I remember that first time, it was so intense burning that I almost had tears coming down my eyes, and it lasted longer than I had ever experienced before. So that's why I got excited afterwards. And my aunt, who has that on a regular basis, she was actually, we were in my hot tub when it happened. I was breaking my bubbly, having my bubbly champagne, and she saw the look on my eyes and and I was telling her oh my gosh, it's so bad. And so she was like, it's healing, your body's healing, because I'd already explained how things resurface and your body has to go back through and address each, issue that you've ever had throughout your life to restore healing. Now, what were you going to say, Rena?
Oh yes. What was your dry fasting schedule?
So the longest one that I hit this fast in 108 days was 60 hours. I did the regular weeklies, and my dailies were definitely a minimum of 12, but sometimes I would get up because I wouldn't feel like I had to have it right then, in the morning. So the 18 hours would probably be the longest day that I can remember, and I'd have to look. But the longest, I was a little disappointed because, again, in my mind, I thought I could go 72, 76 hours dry, but I had already been in it maybe like 50 days, and my body was like, no. So I had to cut one short at 60 hours. So that was the longest I made. So I was a little disappointed in that, but I was like, duh, no, this is you're going longer. So just listen to your body, and you'll be okay.
It's best to have the daily ones shorter, so this way you're prepared for a longer one.
Yeah, and maybe I didn't do that. Maybe I can go back and look in my notes. And maybe I did too long and then try to go long, and that
And weekly as well. Um, yeah, the weekly as well. I keep them to minimum. And then monthly, I do 48 hours these days because I also feel it. It's already pushing me these days. Yeah. So it's good enough for now. I will increase it soon, but not now.
yeah.
Like in the future.
Yeah, and I really like the trying to do the longer one, you know, and the lunar cycle. I think that is definitely very beneficial.
At
Um,
the full moon,
yes,
yeah.
exactly. Hmm. I think that's huge, and I think everybody should do that, even if you're not master fasting. I really think you need to not be feeding at at the because I'm like, I have patients come in and they're just going off, and I'm like, you are ate up with parasites. Like you need to calm it down and stop feeding them. Just during, even right now, just quit. You know, because it's so evident now afterwards looking.
Well, parasites are not only physical.
I believe that.
They're all around. You use your burn stick?
I did. I have a I believe this happened when I was like 10. I got thrown off a horse, and I was laid in bed for a week at age 10. So my dad didn't take me to the hospital. You'll be all right. You're fine.
Wow.
Probably a good thing because they would have just put me on drugs, right? um, but come to find out, I think actually my mom, because my parents had already divorced at this time, I think she did take me to the doctor after I'd already got up and moved around, and they said maybe a bruised lung. Um, I don't remember what all they said, but something with my ribs too. So in my right shoulder blade, only when I'm fasting, but do I notice there's like this sharp pain in, you know, my right shoulder blade. So that bump stick was a lifesaver. I mean, as soon as I'd touch it to that area, instant relief. It was, even my husband one night, he was complaining of something. I go, get that burnt stick and put on it. You know, he goes, that really works. It does. And he was, of course, making fun of me as I was burning them, but he's actually very supportive, but he does like to tease every once in a while.
Yeah. It's good to play around.
Yeah, it's good.
We got to laugh. Children laugh hundreds of times a day. Adults, some of them never. So.
I even tell my husband sometimes because of all the things he's going with, I'm like, just start laughing. And he's like, and I'm like, I don't even care if anything's funny. Just go, ha, 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 ha. Just start laughing.
Yeah.
And he's like, I said, it will change the chemistry in your brain. You know, just do it. Make yourself do it. I believe that for sure. And intent, let's talk about that. Like that was another big thing towards the end of the fast. Like, I think like I was raised in a very optimistic, my mom, she's almost too optimistic, if you know what I mean. She's like, I'm eating this cake donut, but trust me, it will not affect me. I'm just kidding. But she's really, really optimistic. So I was raised that way. Well, my husband comes from a more of a, you know, the sky is falling background. And honestly, in his childhood versus mine, that was pretty much a reality as well. So it's really easy for me to believe the best or the crazy thing is that is one of my strengths is belief. Like there is no questions. It doesn't matter. I will believe it and stand on it till the day I die. Right. Like I have a very strong belief. And so back to our intent, even a while ago, as crazy as it sounds, we're changing out the faucets in our kitchen. And my husband says, My husband said something about, well, I just don't know if it's gonna work, or if we're gonna get it done. And I didn't say anything, but I just started thinking, we're gonna get this done, and it's gonna be great. And I didn't say it out loud, but I'm just saying it like, not believing that lie. That was a lie, what he just said. And I started praying. I'm like, Lord, just help us get this done. And you know what? Just help him be encouraged after we get this accomplished, you know? And sure enough, again, because he's having a lot of brain challenges and issues, he's starting to beat himself up and to not think that he can do things. And I'm like, oh no, it's going to be fine. Anybody can put a sink in, like, we got this, you know? And so our intent, right? Our intent, our will, our emotion rules over like what your reality is. I mean, if you walk outside and you think the sky's, you know, falling, probably gonna. But if you just think the best, it's gonna be fine.
It's challenging, you know. It's some of us, the way we've been brought up and so on and so forth. So we have to come to the realization that you know, we create our reality by our thoughts and our emotions, especially. So intent and emotion is everything. That's how creation starts and keeps moving forth and expanding in every direction.
For sure.
I love how sometimes you talk about the faith and, you know, your connection to God, and nothing comes, you know, nothing compares, basically. I just love it when I read your 108th post. It was beautiful to read.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah. It's really nice to see people connecting and having faith. Really, I mean, faith, my goodness, we don't have it anymore. Even the people who are praying, you know, we can't really, it's easy to lose the faith.
Yeah,
We're detoxing, we lose the faith, you know, when we have detox symptoms, severe detox symptoms, then we start thinking, why am I going through this? Why am I not like reading like my sisters, you know?
Yes. We start not believing, right? We quit believing. And that's where that becomes the problem. It's when we start believing the lie, or that I believe it's Satan trying to deter us from the best thing that's ever going to be in our life. But you know what? A friend just told me last week, we're talking about this, and she said pride. If you think about it deep down, like pride, our ego, our internal, you know, non-spiritual man thinks we know best, or thinks that we can do better, right? But that's our pride. But if we'll get out of the way and believe truth and believe reality and just do it, right? So much better. That's called belief and faith in something greater than me.
Yeah, pride is the worst. Really, like, whenever I feel I'm too proud of something, you know, I know there's something wrong. Question.
Exactly.
It's not necessary.
Sometimes it hides too. Like you can't see it, you know, like it's not very evident. It's not very clear that I'm being proud, or that I'm prideful, or that I'm leaning on my own understanding or my own way. I want it my way, you know. You have to, again, get some stuff out of the way, clean it out before you realize, hey, I really was trying to do that my way, and not a better way, or God's way, or, you know.
What transformations have you experienced? Physically, emotionally, from before you started MFS to now?
Let's see. Physically, 30 some odd pounds. Oh, and this is interesting. You know, I thought as soon as I put these fruits in my mouth, I would start gaining weight. No, I've lost another pound.
Mm.
So,
Quite a few lose weight after they break their fast.
The ones who are following the protocol.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's you're doing amazing, by the way. Good for you.
Thank
You're in
you.
control. Good job. You didn't fall for it. Good girl.
Um, spiritually, did you say spiritually?
Yeah, emotionally, spiritually.
Emotionally, yeah, definitely the whole emotional eating thing that came very clear. That was has been a long term time issue. Instead of running to running to the Lord when I have issues and stress, instead of relying on food to fill that void. And then, of course, it temporarily not even working. So why keep doing that over and over and over? When I first started this, actually, it was the 40. When I did it the first time, I'll be 40 in a couple years. So I was like, you know what? It's time. It is time to change my life. I'm not getting any younger, and I keep doing the same things over and over. The definition of insanity, right? Doing the same things over and over and over and getting the same results. Why do I continue to do this? So, again, digging deeper, knowing that there's a better way to live. Um, why not? You know, why not?
Any aches and pains you've had, or you didn't have anything? What was the
Other
reason?
than the burning and the shoulder blade, that was it. Oh, my period did stop. This last period I should have started, I think, 25 days ago, and has not started. And my husband and I are not planning on having children. I mean, we're not preventing it, but it doesn't seem like it's going to happen. We've got total peace about that. So, I mean, if you don't think I need to induce a period and my body says it ain't, I'm totally fine with that.
It doesn't mean you're not ovulating. You're
Yeah,
probably as healthier than ever in your life,
you get
and
super.
you can have babies better than ever. I'm not joking. There are people who got pregnant with no bleeding, but they're ovulating. Yeah, yeah. One lady had 5 kids. Suzanne Redita, right? She once she started the mucusless diet more than 40 years ago. Normal period. She started when she was 16. She only had her period for 2 years, 14 to 16,
Okay.
and she didn't have her period since that time. Since she was 16, she's 60 something now. She had 5 healthy kids with no bleeding because her body is clean. That's why you stop bleeding, because bleeding is a way of releasing toxins from the body. So the uterus is prepared and clean for basically implantation for the new baby.
Well, I don't want any children. I'm just going to put that out there, Lord. Like, that's not what.
Yeah, but don't just be careful that you can get pregnant.
I
So,
would be okay if that's what he wants, but I'm just saying, I'm pretty content in my situation.
you're probably much more fertile than ever.
Become super fertile. But it all depends on the seed. Needs to be good too.
That's where the problem actually lays. When we were trying, we did, again, my friend, Dr. Mankies, he owns an infertility clinic, so we had my husband tested and there were no swimmers. So I can be as fertile as it is. Unless he starts doing the master fast, I don't think he's going to get fertile. Although, let's talk about this. So, like, I really want him to be clean because, like, our bodily, we are one, like, where our bodily functions are changing. So, I really think that affects me, right? Isn't that true?
What do you think?
Exactly. So, I'm going to be, he used to dip tobacco, and I prayed for 1 year for him to quit. And they say that's one of the hardest ones to let go of. And he's been clean for I think it's a year and a half. This summer will be 2 years.
Nice.
So,
But, if you're living a lifestyle of less is more, you don't have to worry about all this stuff. Your body cleans it all out. very easily.
But keep praying for him.
I will.
That's powerful. And he will see you, you know, as well, the example, you know, he will change. I'm sure he will change, but it might take him time.
He did the really clean eating for about 2 months, and he felt so much better. And of course, you know, and then, you know, situations came, so he thinks he needs to eat because these, you know, things are happening or whatever. And now the other day he was like, actually it was just yesterday, he goes, you know, I got to get back to eating more salads and get away from the junk. And I'm like, that's great, let's do that.
Yeah.
So he knows, you know, it's just like you said, the addiction and the choices and the, I mean,
Do you prepare his food? Yeah, so you have some control a little bit.
yeah, I have lots of control. But here's the problem: when he gets the bad food, because we do not bring, there's very minimal bad food in this house. But when he gets the bad food, he goes to the gym, he works out, he stops and gets a hamburger or tacos or who knows what. He grew up north of Chicago. So, you know, he thinks he's got to, those people, they have some kind of, I don't know, I think stronger addiction even than people in the South.
Well, if you're eating fast foods like that, for sure, they're very
Exactly.
addictive.
And I've even told him before that his taste buds, because like if we were to give him true organic healthy meat, like not even that you buy in the grocery store, like straight, like what do they call it, wild, he says it doesn't taste right. I'm like, that is because your taste buds are so messed up from eating processed. Like you think that's normal, and clearly that is the worst thing from normal. That has so much junk in it. So his taste buds are so deceived.
Yeah, they need that shock from the stimulants. They're not used to clean flavors because they don't come through. But hey, you know, it's okay. Everybody has their path. Everybody who starts cleaning up, they can taste food, smell everything, you know, much better. All the senses, the eyesights, everything clears up when you cleanse out.
Yes.
Um, Anybody got any questions for Michelle?
I love how, you know, very few people I find will change. Well, you know, when they hear your story, or just, you know, your family, your friends, they meet you and they hear about what you're doing, and then they go and explore it. Very few will change and will explore it. And I don't know, I just find it amazing that we are all here. We all want this change. It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
The majority of people are not going to change like this. There's something that inspired us to change. And I guess we are here to be examples for others.
Yes, for sure. That was one of in my list of 10 things. Number 3 is actually inspire others to live healthy and heal their bodies. So, like, I mean, I do that, you know, as a chiropractor, but I share this, you know, with all of my patients. Some of them, you know, like you said, try it and explore it, and to different levels and degrees than others, right? But um, it's more than just about us, you know. It really is. It's actually not about us at all. It's about helping others. It's about um, living our life, right, so that others can see God and His greatness and all that He has planned for them too. You know, it's and if we keep that, you know, at the forefront of our mind and really realize our purpose and our passion, then again, it's easy to do what we're supposed to do, right? Because we know like how we're going to help others and how we're going to bring others closer to God, and to find their way in this short temporary life.
Yeah, and I believe fasting is the best way to connect to God, and He will pray.
Amen. Amen. And that was number 4, actually. Spend quality time with my Lord and Savior without distraction. Because food is distracting. It takes so much time out of our day and out of our life, you know? It's a huge deterrent and distraction.
It subtracts nutrition. Subtracts nourishment, nourishment.
Nourishment, right. In all levels, even, actually.
Yeah, and it's good to make time to pray rather than doing it when you're on your computer, because it doesn't work like that. It's like meditation, right? Focusing a little bit, and then taking like a few minutes, and then doing your other stuff after. So I think it's important to have time for it.
Yes, make time. I first thing in the morning, as soon as I wake up, I just stay in the bed. That's my husband's usually already up and gone. So I just spend time in prayer and reading scripture and asking the Lord, whatever it is that day He has in store, to lead me, guide me, put me in front of the people that He wants, me to be in front of, to help heal, to help encourage, love on. And then all day long, every single day, my goal is to be in direct communication with Him. Some days it's more, and some days He's like, hey, hello, where are you? Remember, you're supposed to be talking to me, So, which I'm very thankful for, actually. But I'm gonna cry to think about it. He just is. It's such a blessing, to have that relationship. And if everyone could experience a close relationship with the God that created them, the peace and the joy and the happiness that you feel it's priceless, and it keeps everything else in perspective,
That's for sure.
Yeah, I know the signs that God gives us when we are not listening, when we are distracted. We get involved in something and emotional about it, and it goes sometimes for hours, and then you're like, oh yeah, like I haven't prayed or whatever. Like if you pray continuously, like a couple of times a day, and, you go back and you're like, oh my God, I even missed my prayer.
Yes.
It's really nice. It's nice to to be reminded. It is a slap sometimes because you're too involved emotionally and you're so upset about something, but you missed your prayer. So stop everything, pray, get back on whatever it is that was.
It goes so much better, right?
Absolutely, because it was emotional involvement in something, and you stop it. You stop it. It's not important anyways, but you're too involved for no reason.
Very much so. Keep it all in perspective.
Lisa's asking, did you get any negative feedback or shame from friends, family about MasterFast system?
Negative feedback. The blessing that I have is that being a chiropractor and living a life full of I don't know, nutrition, in those around me, they look to me a lot of times. I'm not saying 100%, but so that is a blessing that I feel that I have, is that they trust me that what I'm doing is good. Now, whether they feel that they're able to do it or not, that's a different story, which, you know, that may be a downside, because they're like, oh, you can do that, but I can't do that, or, you know. But I'll be honest, I went home to my family, who I'm the most like closest with, right, in Alabama. And they're the Southern, right? They're eating lots of pork, and, you know, and so I really thought, oh, this is going to be interesting. And especially my Uncle Mark. I really thought I was going to get some negative slack from him. And so I mentioned it to my cousin Hadley. That's Hadley's dad, is Mark. And she was like, actually, he's like, look at her behind my back. He's like, look at her. Her hair looks good. Her, you know, the whites of her eyes are so white. He was like, what do y'all think about this? You know? So the one person that I actually thought that would be, you know, negative, or, you know, I would get some slack from, was total opposite. He was interested in he actually, I think it actually motivated him to get back to he knows the proper things he should be doing. Well, you know what I mean. Diet and exercise and living his life. So I think it actually motivated him a little bit to get back on track. So, but I did talk to them a lot about, you know, and that's his wife is who texted me about the aloe vera and the grape juice. Why the grape juice, you know? And so, yeah, I'm blessed in that I don't have to deal with a lot of slack. A lot of patients would be, sometimes they'd be like, you're still on that, you're crazy. But they say it jokingly, you know, and I'm like, well, just keep watching, you know, because you're next, or, you know, so yeah. I probably couldn't handle that because I'm a strong-willed person, and like I said, you know, I make up my mind to do something, I'm going to do it. It doesn't matter what anybody says. But if they're really mean about it, I don't know how I would deal with that.
Yeah, it's also how we communicate as well with the family and friends, I feel, because we can definitely be emotional, you know, a little bit during the fast, right?
Yes.
I found my first maybe 2 months are like, I'm not too interested in seeing them so much, you know?
Right.
But now I don't mind making food for them maybe once every maybe 2 months. But all of them, like I can invite them all over and make food for them while fasting.
Yes.
It's much easier. And it really is much easier than when you're eating. When I'm eating, I have no patience for them. Really, now I'm like, come, I love you. You know, I want to give you love, you know.
It's true. That is so true.
So it takes time, but, you know, be patient. The beginning is always hardest.
I agree. And it just gets easier and easier. For me, it has so far anyways.
Yeah, there's always a way. And if you don't have it right now, the solution, it's okay. Just be patient, keep fasting, and keep cleansing your body. And you will find that you will love them more and more with time.
Now back to the physical. On day, this just popped in my head. On day, I think maybe in the 50s somewhere, I had done Pilates and some yoga and stuff throughout, and some lifting to a light, you know, light lifting and walking and things like that. And my job's pretty physical, on my feet all day, adjusting patients and things like that. Well, we needed to weed eat our yard, and we have 2 acres, and everybody else was doing something, and I wasn't doing anything. And so it's like, I've never weed eated since I think maybe when I was a teenager I weed eated, but I haven't like in a long time. And so I get this gas powered weed eater and it's really heavy. And I start going around the yard and I'm weed eating. And I would have to stop for a second, you know, because I'm still like in the midst of it. I'd have to stop for a little bit and do my breathing, right? And by the end of it, of the 2 acres, I took off the thing and like, I was like, see, I was telling my parents, like, cause they were here. I was like, see, I mean, I haven't had food and I just weeded this whole yard, and my arms were, the muscles or something kind of got stuck from holding in the same position, this heavy machine. And I was like, now I can't move my arms right now, but, but I can keep weed eating all day long. But that was encouragement to me as well. Like, again, breaking some of the mental barriers. Like, that was a very heavy weed eater. And I had to be hunched over, you know, it took me a while, but it was doable. I did it. Actually, I was on a dry fast too. That's what it was. I was in the middle of a weekend dry fast. And so I hadn't had anything. And so that was encouraging for my family to see too, you know? So that was really good. So.
Lisa's asking, how do you deal with your spouse not helping himself in the same way that you are helping yourself?
Yeah, I would definitely say that's my, if I have a challenge in life, that would be my biggest one. And, you know, that goes back to, I think, Satan wanting me to have fear that he's going to die, fear that, you know, he's not going to have the best quality of life, fear that I'm going to be taking care of him, you know, things like that, right? But I'm going to keep doing what Raina said. I'm going to keep praying and believing that God will wake him up and bring truth into his heart, because he's starting to see, we're taking him to all these doctors and they're wanting to put him on a drug, which I think is only going to, which I know is only going to exacerbate and make his situation worse. And he knows that. I continue to tell him that. He's tried it before, these drugs, right? And they didn't help. So I think it's just all the bigger picture is just coming full circle. And one day he's going to see truth and he's going to join in. And I believe that's why God has led me down this path. And I don't mind going before and doing, and so he can even see it, you know, me laying right here in this bed next to him, that she's doing it and she's doing great. She's doing even better than she was 5 years ago, you know? So I continue to take him to these doctors and go with him, because I want him to, it's not going to be me telling him, right? No spouse wants to hear it from their wife. So, and I even told him when the lady said she wants him to go on Zoloft, I said, honey, this is your body. This is your choice. If you want to take the Zoloft, take the Zoloft. I said, you know how I feel about it. You know the research I've done and what it's going to do to your brain, but it is your decision and I will support you in whatever you choose. But if it were me and my body, you know, I would not put that stuff in my mouth. And you know, I don't want you to, but again, your choice, your body. So, he played semi-pro football and he had a very traumatic childhood. So he's got signs of PTSD, the chronic traumatic encephalopathy, CTE. So lots of brain stuff, but I believe gut and brain, right? All connected, total.
Yep.
So, if we can get true healing, clean out all the junk that we can clean out, the body will heal itself. So,
absolutely.
And even the 2 months that he was really good with the cleaning out, guess what? He was so much better, so much better. We were just in the ER this Thursday night. I pulled in the driveway at 7 p.m. Thursday. He comes out holding his chest. And of course, I'm not going to make light of this, right? So I'm like, get in the car. And he's struggling, like not to breathe. He was having shortness of breath, but extreme chest pain. So we take him to the ER about 30 minutes away. And they start running all the tests and rule out, they don't see heart attack, thankfully. But 2 different electrical, like a right bundle branch block and then a left anterior ventricle block or something. So 2 little arrhythmias he's having in his heart. But the doctor said nothing, like they're not saying that he's, you know, going to make him faster to have a heart attack, but those 2 things together, now they're referring him to a heart doctor who specializes in electrical stimulation, the electric, you know, the communication, right, of the heart. He saw.
I've seen people walk out of hospitals with a clean bill of health, drop dead. So much for their tests.
Exactly. And that's what the naturopath basically told him. It's not if you're going to have a heart attack, it's when. Like, you keep doing what you're doing, it's when you're going to have a heart attack.
Mm-hmm.
So he's been told by a man that wasn't his wife. So anyways, we'll keep going to the doctors as long as he wants to keep shelling out money. And he'll, I'll keep taking him to naturopaths. His medical doctor is a functional medicine doctor. So she's on board with him cleaning up and, changing his lifestyle, and she encourages that. And so anyways, he wants answers. This is what his struggle is. He wants answers for why his brain is not working, because it's not. And I keep telling him,
I'll tell him right now. He's full of shit.
Let me go get him. Let me go get him. Exactly.
That's simple. Pipes are all full of shit. Physical, mental, emotional. Got to clean up the pipes. You can't get it any more simple.
So to answer your question, whoever it was that asked that, that's the hardest thing, is knowing, right? Having this knowledge and knowing the truth and experiencing it to 100%, and then seeing the person that you love with all your heart, with all your soul, not knowing, not being there, not getting it, not doing it. Like, that's the hardest. That is definitely my biggest challenge. But that is not going to stop me from believing that someday soon that will be a different answer.
Mm-hmm. Everything's possible.
For sure.
With faith. Everything is possible with faith.
That's right. God, he'll take care of it all. And he is. I think we're just, again, like I said, it's going to come full circle.
Yeah. I've seen people I gave information, to, and then, didn't hear anything from them. And 10 years later, oh yeah, let me try some of this stuff you're talking about. 10 years or 15 years later. Just, it wasn't their time.
And that's the kicker, I think, too, is everybody's walk in this life is different. It's a different path. It's a different time. And you can't push, we can't push our way or our timing or what we want on them. That's only going to push them away most often, right? But we live our light. We let our light shine, and they see truth, right, through that. And they are attracted to that. But if we're pushy or, it's got to be this way. And my husband even tells me that sometimes. He's like, you're being too pushy, or you're being too, almost like demanding. And I'm like, okay, you're right. It comes from that wanting it so bad for them, So I do have to definitely be careful in that area.
All right. Anybody else? Any questions? Or what time are we at? We're almost at 2-hour mark. Everybody's quiet today. That's good. Everybody has their answers. So simple. We don't need to know anything else. Just go within. It's all there. Fast and you shall be revealed. Very, very clearly. It's, the more you fast, the more clear it will be. It's really can't get any more simple, guys.
And I think just keeping it simple, in your head, like don't start going through the what ifs and wonderings and the whys.
Yeah. We all do that, especially when you start going through some crazy healing reactions, all the negative stuff starts coming through, and maybe I need some of this. I'm missing some vitamin or mineral or blah, blah, blah. Because we've been so indoctrinated with that information, and it's become part of us. So it's not a simple thing for people to let it go. But when we do, and we have that trust and faith, it always comes out perfect. There's going to be, a few that it's time to jump the fence, as we like to say, to move on to the next journey. And that's okay too. Nothing wrong with that, because we're all going to go. Death is unescapable in this plane, from our understanding. And so my goal was always to die healthy. Who said you have to die in pain and misery and suffering? Die healthy.
For sure. At least you feel good, right?
Yeah.
Just sleep and not wake up. That would be nice.
Have to go.
Good night.
Going to a better place.
I'm gonna go dream.
All right. Anything else, Michelle, you want to share before we wrap it up? Miss 108 days.
108.
Yeah. Thank you so much for making it today.
Yes, that
was nice.
Very well.
Yeah, awesome. Wonderful. It's amazing when people share and inspire somebody. And this is all the part of the giving that is also part of us being able to find balance. Without us being in service and giving, what are we here for? What are we here for? So when we can help somebody in any way, shape, or form, it's very fulfilling to the soul. Very fulfilling. And as we're giving, we're allowed to receive much more. And this is the challenge I see with people that are in very challenged states of health. It's that believing in, not believing, but allowing themselves to give in a time where they feel needy.
They're takers.
Yeah. So that's a challenge, but if you can trust the soul, everything will be all right. You keep that faith and that trust in the soul, in your soul, and it's all going to work out. Just allow yourself to give in all forms, and everything will flow beautifully, magically, every time.
Yeah, easier to have the faith for sure when you are not sick, right?
Yeah.
Easier to go.
When we have pain or when we have illness, right? I feel seeing it every day. Automatically, our natural instinct is to me, like what's wrong with me? Help me, and so you can't give, you can't love, you can't serve, or you seem to not be able to when you have so many issues. So
yeah, Jonathan, love the attitude, Michelle. Thank you. Love you all. Keep fasting. It will get better and better. My new mantra. No, Jonathan, it is better and better.
already.
It's already done. Like, create your future in your mind, and the physicality, because it's matter, it's slow, it needs time to catch up. This is the key, folks. We need to see the future, which is already there, so the matter state can catch up with their physicality. That's all it is. We don't wish or believe it's going to, it's already happened. It's already
Yes.
happened. So, you know, this is
Act as if.
right, right. Fake it till you make it. That's the funny word, but it's actually, you know, it's already happened. It's already
Yeah.
done. Just let it catch up into the physical form, and it will, because it has no choice when it's already manifested with your intent and your emotion. It has no choice. The physicality has to follow the soul. No choice at all. But it's a beautiful thing to watch everybody unfold their amazing transmutations. It's just awesome what happens. Um, you know, did you measure yourself, your height before and after?
Oh, I did not do that.
Yeah, yeah. These are some things that
I do feel taller. I do.
yeah. We the few people that have done that, they've all noted that they regained their height. Uh, one
I
woman
should
was
check it. I will check it and see, because I used to be 5'9", and then one time, I'm gonna say like 2 or 3 years ago, they said, "Oh, you're 5'8.5," and I'm like, "How could that be?"
yeah,
Of course, doing, the discs and stuff in the bathroom. I'm like, "What's
yeah,
happening?" I'll recheck and see.
yeah.
Do you exercise? Did you exercise at all when you did the masterclass?
I sure did. I did Pilates on the reformer machine. And I would say the first month, I had to be a little bit uh, less intense. But as I got, my body started releasing and getting rid of things, I could go longer with more stamina. But then to get on the dry fast, I'd have to kind of take it easy. I did some light lifting weights. I did walking my neighborhood. And what else? Yoga. I did a little bit of yoga as well. That was about it.
How do you see yourself? Okay, my last question. How do you see yourself living? So you love what you're doing right now, which is mainly drinking juice for the most part, and then and then eating here and there, some fruits at this point.
Yes.
How do you see yourself?
My goal, that I wrote down, is throughout this entire year, I would like to stick to fruits and vegetables, in moderation as I see fit. Um, and even as some patients ask, what are you going to do next year? I'm going to take each day as it comes, but I'm going to set goals, and then I'm going to pray about it. So when next year comes, yes, I'm going to do the fast again. I don't know how many days yet. I don't feel the Lord has revealed that to me, or I haven't even really asked yet. But I definitely want to stick to fruits and some salads and stuff, adding in some cilantro and some herbs and some of those goodness, for sure. And that's kind of my goal. But we'll see. We'll see where it goes. If I feel like I need some fish, I may have a little bit of fish. Who knows? But right now, I'm very content. And I looked up. And so I looked up like the fruits and vegetables that are in season each month. So I would kind of actually like to stick to those, for that month, and then just kind of transition on each month doing what is in season.
Yeah, that's important. If we ate, you know, minimal in season, it would be awesome.
And of course, I will continue on I'll be doing dry fasting, because we didn't talk about that. Dry fast. Oh, we didn't talk about the Klima board either. Two things. The dry fasting for me was the easiest, even easier and more simple than the actual juice and herbs and plasma. So I really enjoyed dry fasting, and I felt great. I had great energy coming out of it, the release, right? And it was the stuff that was released, the acids. Like, I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm toxic. So that was awesome, and I really, really enjoyed those. So I will continue those for sure. And I didn't after my 40. I thought that I would, but I didn't. I didn't continue dry fasting, which was not wise of me.
Mm.
So I have made it a point that I'm going to continue dry fasting for the rest of my life because this is great. And then, you know, and here's the weird thing: I bought a Kalima board when I did my last one, but I never slowed down and figured out how to set it up and do it, which was so easy. But I didn't do it when I just did my enemas, kept doing my enemas because I'd already gotten in a routine. And so when I started the 108, I kind of took a day because I thought it was going to take all day to figure it out. Did not. So easy. So I took a day early on and did that. Wow. The Kalimas, they made me feel so good. Oh, yes, I highly recommend going if you can go and do colonics or even getting it. Wouldn't you say colonic goes even deeper and pulls more out than the Kalima board?
So with the Kalima, go ahead.
A closed system, yes.
Yeah, I find when I did the Kalima, I actually did it at Gino's place Christmas time. I used his, and I was like, wow, this is good. So with the Kalima, you can't take as much water because the water will come out. I find you can't. It will come out, right?
Yeah.
Or go down to the toilet. Whereas with the colonics, I don't leak it. It keeps going, until like I say, okay, now I can take it, and then I stop. So it works a little bit differently because, because the exit. Well, because you're releasing into a tube. It works a little bit differently. You can't take as much water with the Kalima because the scope is much thinner and it's easy to leak, right? With the Kalima, but with the colonic, like it's fit and you can't leak.
Yeah,
You take as much as you can. You keep filling. No, nothing comes out, and then you say, okay, that's it, I'm done, and you let go.
Yeah, only a
You
closed
open the tube.
colonic.
Closed.
Yeah, the open is gonna be like Kalima.
Okay. Yeah.
So
well, a closed system, you're going to get much more water going through, and you can hold much more water into the colon versus an open system, which is a Kalima.
Yeah, and that's another thing, with the Kalima, it's like 20 liters, is it? Whereas with the colonics, you're gonna get it, depending how long you do it for, by 50 liters. Yeah.
So my next fast, I'm gonna go do a colonic. My husband did one while I was on it. I was so jealous because the naturopath had him do it, and he was so like, I hate it. That was horrible. And I was like, I'll go do it for you.
He can do the Kalimas at home at least. Yeah.
I actually told his naturopath that, and he said, well, let's start him out because we need to get the toxins, So, but he's kind of he was a little traumatized by that. So I said, let's just do the Kalimas. He was like, nothing is going up there. So
yeah,
but I can talk into it. It just might take a little time.
you know about enemas, yeah.
Take pictures of what comes out of you and show him what's inside him.
I've been doing that all along. I'll holler at him, honey, come look. And he's like, would you stop, please? Maybe that was what happened is I traumatized him. So he's scared. I always tease him. I'm like, well, they're out of me, but they're still inside of you. So.
Yeah. I had my first enema when I was a kid from my mother.
Really?
Yeah, because my parents, when they were growing up, first thing they got when they were sick was an enema. In those times.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, that's.
Yeah, I would say sharing the Master Fast that's where I lose most people, which is so sad. You know, they're all on board until I say it's crucial to go every day and this is how you do it. And they're like, oh, and I'm like, no, no, no. It's so simple. It's so easy. There's no, you know, it's not a big deal. But then they're kind of like, and I'm like, you just go to see, if they sell it at CVS, go get a bag, you know? I mean, it can't be that difficult.
For many years when I started, it was very difficult to find enema bags anywhere.
Really?
Oh yeah, they were not easy to come by.
They're
No
non-existent, huh?
internet, no
Yeah.
nothing. It was not
Until now.
Yeah, now they're everywhere. You can find them.
Well, even now, I mean, the best place to find them is online. Most shops wouldn't have them.
Well,
You
I
can find them at
remember
Walmart.
my first, I did this was in 2005. I did a gallstone. You know, have you heard this? Drink the apple juice.
Yep.
Never gallbladder flush.
Yes. Drink the olive oil on your right side. Pass the stones, which I did pass the major stones. It was crazy. But after that, I started doing enemas on another fast, and I had a friend do it with me, so I had to teach her how to do it because she was freaked out by it. I'm like, no, 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 it's so simple, you know. And so I just made her lay down. But actually, this brings up another thing in my mind. My best friend from undergrad in Alabama, she did that to me. She taught me how to do it because her mother was big into making sure that the valves are moving and cleaning out toxins. So I guess my first one was like, it had to be between 98 and 2003. And then I just shared the love to the next friend.
Yeah. Got to keep everything flowing. That's the simplicity of it. As soon as we start getting stagnation, we start getting into problems at every level.
So true.
So we'll end it at that.
Leave it on a good note. Get the crap out.
Thank you so much, Michelle, for
Enjoyed it. Thanks for inviting me on.
Thank you so much. It was lovely.
Awesome.
Love you.
Awesome.
Praying for y'all. Many
Love you.
Let's keep that plasma love flowing. That's what it's all about. All right, so then we'll call it a close, and we'll see everybody back on the board there, and keep inspiring each other, and we'll see you on the next calls.
All righty, sounds great.
All right, guys. Have a good night.
Ciao, ciao.
Wherever you are. Ciao.